the penetration of smartphone usage in India has really grown by leaps and bounds. Everyone wants to come to India. Smart TVs, we have number one position here, and we have also number one position in Wi-Fi routers, for example.
Hi, I'm Danish Khan from Moneycontrol, and we are joined by Mr. Anku Jain, who is the Managing Director of fabulous chipset maker MediaTek, and it's a known name in the Indian handset market. So welcome to the podcast, Anku, and I would want to start this podcast by seeking your views on the Indian handset industry, how it is evolving over the period of years, and in what shape do you see Indian handset market going from here onwards?
First of all, Danish, glad to be here, and always a pleasure to talk to you. For the handset market, as we have been in this market for a long time, and recently we have been more, vocal about the 5G ecosystem build up in India. And for 5G, our strategy has always been that we want to address the entire market. So we have the entire portfolio of 5G chipsets, starting from mainstream to premium to flagship. And what that does is that it gives an option to our partners to create a phone which is good for their market. And that helps in kind of democratizing this technology for the flagship users as well as mainstream users. And so what we have seen in the last several years is that the penetration of smartphone usage in India has really grown by leaps and bounds. I think we have played a key role in that, making that happen. So that is kind of a proud moment for us. And in fact, right now our market share is 47%, which is quite huge in India. So I think that trend will continue, and we are coming up with bigger and better 5G chipsets all the time. And of course, we are also working in a line with the Prime Minister's vision of 6G, that we want to be leaders in that as a country. We also are working on the 6G technology we have for the last several years. So. I think by the time it is right time to launch, we'll be there. So that is also something which keeps on our toes.
Right.
So we are there for a long haul, and I think India is a very important market for us.
Right. Yeah. So you spoke about 5G chipsets, and one key issue in India is the affordability, because there are people who are still using feature phone. So do you think that there is a need to kind of work on the affordability of the handset to help migrate those 2G feature phone users to 5G or 4G phones?
Certainly there is a need to do that, because as a special case for India, the smartphone is the first device they have for the connection to internet. So if they have a 4G or 5G smartphone, it is kind of empowering them to be connected to the world. So it's very, very important. And as it is in any technology, I think the phone prices are coming down. So now we have sub 10,000 phones for 5G. And of course 4G are even lower. And 4G is also important because some areas in India are not offering 5G yet. And also it's more affordable. So certainly phone prices are important, but that is something which is driven by the OEM partners. But we just make sure, as I mentioned earlier, we have the entire portfolio, starting from mainstream, right, and which is adherent to the standards, 5G standards, all of that. So I think it is a great choice for the end users.
Right. So MediaTek is a global company. It works with the top fab companies in the world. In India also, the government has incentivized a lot of chipset companies, chip makers to come. OSATs and fabs are getting established in the country. So how do you see the whole ecosystem developing from manufacturing to R&D? Do you think that the speed is good enough, or we need to kind of accelerate?
Yeah, I think the speed, so we had many false starts, to be honest. In the last 20 years, India has had many false starts in terms of creating this manufacturing ecosystem like fab, etc. But this time, I think things are really hitting the ground in a real sense. So I would like to take an example of Semicon event which happened this year and also last year. So last year I remember we had the CEOs from all over the world, and I specifically remember one roundtable conference we had in which we saw two competitors from the testing side talking to each other, and someone asked, why are you here? So he said, no, this guy is here, so I have to be here. So there is a FOMO factor. So I think that kind of factor is also important, because globally, if you see the various companies like chemicals, gases, and everyone wants to come to India, and because they see a very big opportunity.
Right.
And certainly it is due to the facts you mentioned, like the PLI scheme, etc. From the government initiative, that has actually created the big, I would say, perfect storm for this ecosystem build up. And it is actually happening on the ground. Already 10 projects have been announced. So it is really great to see that. And it's not only for ATMP, OSAT, and fabs, but also if you see the electronics manufacturing ecosystem is developing very rapidly.
Right.
So all the puzzles are coming into place. And of course, for MediaTek, we are a fabless company, as you mentioned. So we don't manufacture anything. That is something which is done by our partners. But still, it is we are looking at this momentum in a very excited manner, because if everything is here, then it also helps us, because we can do stuff locally here.
Right. So whenever we have facilities up and running, and if it aligns with your strategy, you would look at sourcing from the Indian factories.
Yes, certainly. We have to just wait and watch and see how it develops, and of course, it makes sense. Then it will happen. Yeah.
Right. And you also have a very large R&D setup in India, various centers you have. So what sort of role these centers play towards the global R&D? Is there a special focus that India has in terms of helping out the global R&D setup?
So we are playing at a very broad level. We are playing two kinds of roles. One is we are extension of global R&D. So we are working on state-of-the-art topics which are global, and we are extension of that. So including 5G and AI and connectivity, Wi-Fi, etc. So we are doing all those things, and in both hardware design and software design aspects of the device, of the chipset. So that is global R&D, but also I mentioned earlier that the Indian ecosystem is building up. So we have to also get ready for that. There will be requirement. There will be instances where the local companies, they need support from MediaTek. So we are also kind of building upon that. How do we handhold or to support the local ecosystem companies? And so that is one important topic which is coming up. Of course, we are already doing that for the last several years, but I think this might increase further as and when the local ecosystem builds up further.
So for the local ecosystem, do you have a special fund to support startups, or do you have an accelerator program? So how do in what scope you help out those startups who are building locally?
So what we are doing is there are multiple big companies in India, and including those from China. They have R&D centers here in India. So we have to co-work with them very closely. So let's say a new phone is coming up, and they're using our chipset. Then we have to closely work with them to ensure it is tested well and it works in the Indian network conditions and so on. So that is one aspect. And of course, we also have big operators here for which we are co-working with them to the next thing. So these are the kind of support requirements which keep coming up, and I think this may grow further as the Indian ecosystem builds up.
Because you already have business beyond handsets and telecom operators. Because your chip goes inside a lot of small products, CCTVs, TVs, speakers. And in those areas, we are seeing a lot of startups kind of popping up. So are you kind of supporting them, helping them with respect to the technology that MediaTek Global is developing or the Indian R&D team is developing?
Yeah, of course. So whenever there's a requirement from a startup that they need certain chipset, so we do support them in that sense, and to make a co-work together and see how do we take it forward. Right.
With you have Dimensity chipset in the handset. It is now known as a MediaTek technology, but as I just mentioned, your technology goes beyond handset, because people don't know that a lot of smart TVs have MediaTek chipset, and then smart speakers are also there. How is that business kind of doing in India? Are you kind of seeing an accelerated growth for your non-handset business?
Oh yeah, if I think as you said, we are more known for smartphones, chipsets. But smart TVs, we have number one position here, and we have also number one position in Wi-Fi routers, for example, right? So those are the things which are in every home, and we have sizable majority market share in many of these topics, many of these segments. So that is beyond smartphone. But also we are looking at, if you look at the next 3 to 5 years roadmap, we are looking at new verticals. For example, automotive is getting speed, right? And maybe data centers and data centers and those such things. ASICs, application specific ICs. So these are the things which are kind of growth engines, which are kind of growing and will be a sizable portion of the revenue in the coming years.
Right. And speaking of AI, a lot of handset companies, their marketing strategies are now revolving around AI features in their handsets. As a chipset companies and a solution developer, how are you helping with their AI requirements? Is there a relevant need in the market, or is it just a buzzword for consumers and everyone wants to just milk the opportunity?
So I think because we are a chipset company, a technology company, what we have to ensure is that the infrastructure is available. Let's take an example of a handset. So handset, of course, has our chipsets have capability of supporting AI models on the edge. So that can have things like photography enhancements, or maybe doing some inferencing on the phone itself directly. So for that we have to give very good capability on the handset. So for example, the latest chipset that we have announced, which is Dimensity 9500, has better NPU, better APU and GPU. So that actually is able to have better computing power on the handset, which is required for AI.
Right.
In fact, for this chipset we have something called SME2 enabled. Now that what that does is that it is for smaller AI workloads. It doesn't need to rely on NPU. It can actually leverage the CPU.
Right.
So that makes it more impactful.
Right.
So AI is of course always a very important topic, and we make sure that our chipsets are capable to support the biggest and the best LLMs and SLMs.
Right. Last year, I saw a demo at MediaTek booth at Mobile World Congress where it showcased a satellite connectivity on a handheld device, which is a smartphone. I know all the companies are currently developing the technology. SATCOM is being rolled out across the country. It is in the process of getting rolled out. What is MediaTek's strategy on the SATCOM front? Do you think that in few years we will be able to use data coming from satellites, LEO satellites?
So again, as a technology demo which you mentioned about MWC, you must have seen the IoT NTN and also the NR NTN. So those are like low data speed and high data speed options. So MediaTek is already ready with those solutions, and definitely we have to see how does the business model takes off, and I think that will actually drive us to see how we can participate in that story.
Right. Yeah. Any last comment on area of relevance that you want to highlight?
So I think one area I would like to maybe reiterate is how important Indian market is. So I think the demography of India is very favorable for MediaTek,
right? And
because with the young population and the consumption here is absolutely mind blowing. And also we can see that the premiumization aspect has taken up.
Right.
So people need bigger and better for everything, including smart TVs or phones or cars or whatever it is.
Right.
So that actually presents a very huge opportunity for MediaTek, and therefore we want to put further investments here.
Right. Well, on that note, I would like to end this chat, and thank you very much, Anku, for doing this.
Thank you so much.
It is already like we have spoken in the past about a lot of things, and I'm sure in future we will have more topics to cover.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.